Mic check. Fantastic. Why am I not getting any of the other stream feed chats? Something's wrong. Okay. I see TikTok. Hello, Atlam. Can you hear me all right? I know the music isn't coming through. But can you hear me at least? Ooh, extra loud. Let me turn that down. Steam is up for you. Good. So this is like my first stream on this new computer. So bear with me while I'm like trying to figure it all out. However, the multi-chat isn't popping up, which has me somewhat concerned. I'll deal with that later. I can watch chat on a few different things. So how's everyone doing today? How was your weekend? And again, my apologies for those that tried to attend the damn challenge stream. I'm trying to still sort this out. So we're in the middle of downsizing the stream, which I'm getting pressure from the devs to do, and I'm trying to change things, but also keep as much as we can. Mic sounds a little different. It's probably because it hasn't been fully configured yet. Does it sound quiet? Does it sound loud? Oh, here. Let's try this. How's that sound? Okay. Sounds far away. Well, let me pull it in closer. That sound better? Also, let me just play with it a little bit. Test. My noise suppression wasn't on. Gotcha. Well, I think I fixed it. Hopefully, we're better now. Stand by. Also, like learning Windows 11 as I go. I'm not hearing anything now. Yep, you do see the juggling demon, and now you should see Dungeon Alchemist. I'm noticing also looks a little dark. I'm gonna play with that too. Stand by. What's silent? My mic, the music. Talk to me, man. What's going on? I need to make adjustments. Obviously, this is the first stream with this machine, so we're going to be making adjustments. Up the brightness a bit. Okay. Can you hear the music too? And I'm just noticing I had my lens cap on, so we should be good across the board. Welcome back, one and all. My name is Mac. It's time for Mapmaker Monday, our stream where we focus on building a map live, where you get to follow along, ask questions in real time related to the build, but also in AMA format related to Dungeon Alchemist. So if you have questions, the format of the stream is Ask Me Anything. And again, my apologies for Saturday's stream. I kind of want to blame it on my ISP, but it also could have been my PC. My old stream PC has been on its way out for a while, and I've just been kind of, ignoring it and trying to put it off, but I've had other things going on in my life that had been preventing me from getting it done. That being said, thanks to some contributions from a very, amazing donor in our community who would like to remain private, I was able to build a pretty awesome PC. I bought a few parts, and then this person donated quite a bit. And anyway, this machine's pretty epic. That being said, it's not intended to be the stream PC. Ultimately, it will be the Dungeon Alchemist PC, which means it'll be running DA even better. But for right now, that requires a lot of data and time transferring things, moving things around. So for right now, it's going to remain as the stream PC until I get time to convert it over. Honestly, a lot of it was just tossed my way, so I don't know everything. Okay, so there's a 5090 in it for sure. That I do know. There's like a 2 terabyte Corsair SSD, 1,000-watt Corsair power supply. It's a Corsair tower. There's an MSI liquid cooler in there. It's an AMD 7, I believe, series. And like this insane gigabyte Horus motherboard that has like all the bells and whistles. There was like a fan for the RAM. I've never seen that before. A fan just for the RAM. It has like built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and a whole bunch of bells and whistles slots. It's designed for next-gen like graphics cards like the 5090 that are massive. It came with like a mounting bracket right inside of it to hold them so they don't get sag. Anyway. So yeah, there has been a lot of, changes behind the scenes. So the stream will be running great for the foreseeable future. And then when I transition and flip-flop the PCs, it'll still be running better than ever, because the machine that'll be running it is far better than what was running it. Anyway, my only concern with today's stream is I'm not getting the multi-stream chat, which I don't know if that's a setting in Streamlabs or something that didn't load right. But at least the multi-stream is up. But I do think, did Steam crash for you, Atlam? Oh, it's back up. Never mind. Okay, so for those just tuning in, as we build in this map, we are focusing on building this massive cemetery. This map, just to give you some perspective, is 85 by 82. It is quite insanely large, okay? There's a lot to it, and it's actually probably the biggest, most insane map I've ever made. The thing is I definitely bit off a bit more than I can chew with this. I didn't realize how long this would take to make on stream, doing it for about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours a week. But I am dedicated to finishing it. And it started out in this corner and is just slowly expanded into more and more, cemetery. Here we have a cathedral, a beautiful like kind of garden, more, burial plots, mausoleums, etc. A royal kind of burial grounds, the groundskeeper's cottage and private property, and then we still have a few spaces left to put in, plots. We've been packing in graves over here in the area we call the sardine can, which is just tons and tons of pauper graves. Anyway, so this area is kind of where we've been focused on for the last little bit. I was going to leave kind of an area blank with just it not necessarily flattened or ready to go, because it would be like, that area hasn't been expanded into yet and there hasn't been graves dug. This, though, is, these graves, because there's so many of them packed in really tightly, it takes time. But thank goodness the Fun with Objects update added a variant, like crazy variant amount for these particular graves. When you, oh my, that's, what the heck? Copied it at a crazy size. It was insane. Hopefully. Okay. So whenever you press tab on this grave, it puts out a different variation of it. There's like over 600 variations of the tombstones, the designs on them, and the like cover stones or lack of. So as of right now, Chim, I'm a little fuzzy on the details because I need to talk to Wim about the streams in general. I obviously have commitments to our community to finish up a few things, some loose ends, before we change our stream schedule drastically. And I also don't want to make any major overcorrections. So there's some things that need to be discussed behind the scenes. Let's just say for now, till next Saturday is the tentative date. Hopefully this upcoming Saturday, this week's Saturday, what is it? The 15th will be when we go over the entries and, discuss that. Okay? Anyway, that's the best I can say for right now. As of right now, no, Law of the Jungle. In the future, there may be some kind of tool that does that. Oh my gosh, I'm looking. The stream looks really washed out. Does it look washed out to y'all? I may have made it too bright. We were kind of fiddling with the color and everything, and I may have overdone it. It's okay? Okay. I just want to make sure it's good on all ends, I can keep adjusting it until everyone's happy. I did tone it down just a little bit. Also, I can put a filter here. And I want to tone down the touch a little. Get some contrast, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, it just was a little too much. TMZ, though, thank you for the feedback over on TikTok. I can adjust my color, too. That's not a big deal. Okay, I think that fixed it up for now. Let's focus on building, which I think I was focusing on these paths. Sorry, Blue Mage. I think the monkey paw does that too sometimes. I'm building a massive cemetery, TMZ. Just goes on and on and on. I was kind of trying to get that ancient, you know, old world cemetery vibe. I often will use this ruler as a great way to like get a straight line across. Semi-straight kind of line. Okay. I'll see myself out after that joke. So what's your complaint exactly? You're supposed to say good line. Good line. Changing the lyrics ever so slightly. You know, that's a good question, Half Pound. If I had to guess, I only get about a half hour a week because I'll stop and answer questions and we have discourse and whatnot on stream. But I would say somewhere between like 30 and 50 hours, somewhere in there. And that's because I built all of it by hand, you know? Crazy amounts. I think of what to put in these little spaces here. Like plants, we got a statue there. Maybe just trees, like more trees. Yep, it is a legacy map because I started it before. That being said, it's still a very useful map. You know, contracts have to be agreed to by the parties involved in them, Kanani. So I have to understand what I'm signing typically for it to be binding. Let alone have to sign it. Y'all crack me up. Trying to think of what to do in this space. I think I'm just going to line a couple graves up here. What's the most you've ever put into a map yourselves? I know some of you put some serious hours into maps. That or delete one. So I'm just going to apologize if I'm being a little wacky. I was up till like 2 a.m. getting the stream PC all finalized. So Daniel Gomez, the maps export to Foundry, but they don't export as 3D. You build the map in a 3D, but it exports in a traditional top-down. You can export with a 3D perspective. Notice how it kind of has like a, I don't know, it'll go from a flattened map to a 3D perspective, but there's no 3D exports for Dungeon Alchemist maps. It just wasn't created with that in mind. Our developers, when they created this tool, they wanted to give you the best map making tool that exported in a traditional top-down manner. That is a good question, though. Yeah, no worries. And by the way, one thing that's very neat about Dungeon Alchemist, this particular map is a legacy map, so it's not the case. But it does support multi-level builds, and what that means is you could build like a multi-level structure, and when it exports all of the levels as slices, like scenes. So ultimately, it does support like levels and things like that in Foundry, but at the same time, it's not a true like a 3D levels. Does that make sense? It's an immersive top-down levels. I understood what you meant. By the way, Daniel, we offer a free demo on Steam, so you can kind of try us out, and you can make a tavern in our woods biome, and it allows you to export the map for Foundry or a number of other virtual tabletops. Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, Above VTT, and pretty much any virtual tabletop that supports the UVTT format. What I think I'm going to do is stretch these out. You already bought it? Awesome. Well, thank you for the support. We are an indie developer, so, you know, every little bit helps. We're a small team of less than 10 people, and we're out here competing with a lot of big dogs, so we do appreciate the patronage. Out ever so slight early on to save myself that it's not close, so I need to fix that too. That's good enough. So when my kid was little, you know how kids often will mistakenly say phrases and words wrong? Hey, Mike the Mapmaker, thank you for that follow. I don't know if you're still here, but I appreciate it. I was over on Twitch, it looks like. Sorry, I didn't notice that right away. I really do need to add notification noises. What I think I'll do is record my own so they're like legally safe. And I'll make them quite silly. Oh, I just noticed my... They're so slightly off. I must have bumped my monitor or something. I don't know, just silly voices and me saying fun things. Can't you select a heap of tiles at once and copy paste? Not currently. Not currently. Our next update, Fun with Objects Part 2, should allow you to save groupings of objects as what's called a variant, and then copy and paste those variants. Hoping. Oh, you do first-person videos for your players? Nice. Do you ever stream first-person views for your players? Like where you just kind of follow along where they are? Man, I cannot grab that tile. Got it. Fine early. So when my kid was little, he used to mistakenly say weird phrases, right? Or say things incorrectly. So like one he used to say incorrectly was instead of headache, he'd say head egg, like egg. So we'd be like, whenever he said he'd have a headache, we'd be like, did you crack your head egg? Because he was like, my head egg hurts. Goodness. All about perspective, I guess, here. It was quite cute, to be honest. What else did he used to say? Oh, he had trouble saying tarantula, which is understandable. And he loved tarantulas, so he'd try to say it all the time. He would say tarantulancha. It was adorable. So I think I'll refrain from embarrassing him on stream much more. Because he's now, you know, a grown man. Probably doesn't care for this that much. Too funny. Enough. Going insane. Almost perfectly. Stand by. I think the dog's at the door. Not sure what I heard. Thought I heard something scratching at the door, but guess it was not the dog. My mind playing tricks on me. Hey, John, how you doing, man? Welcome back. Doing some prep for my next adventure, which is pre-published. I designed, put in a great map for a big mansion, but there's a set piece battle under the mansion, kind of like a death house in Strahd, and it was not included in the map, so I launched DA within 15 minutes, have all set up in Foundry, good to go. Man, that's awesome, John. That's awesome. Thank you for the positive story about your session. That's so great. Oh, that's funny, Daniel. So your kid couldn't... A helicopter's a tough word for a little kid to say, I'd imagine. You know what I mean? A tarantula. Not quite a dog. Not quite a spider. Rain bomb, nice. You guys are putting me to shame because I'm just sitting here putting in stones while you're building entire maps. Dungeon Alchemist really is that quick. I'm just taking forever because I'm doing all this random stonework by hand. Which I do wish we had a tool for painting things in a line perfectly like this much more easily. I'm hoping with time we get there. I have seen some interesting clips on, you know, back-end development lately that looks like we're getting closer and closer. Ooh, hey, thank you. I am live currently on 6 platforms at the moment, Daniel. We're live on Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Steam. All of them. Oh, why not? Why not, Atlam? Educate me. Huh. No, I thought that's only if you are... Well, I don't know. I haven't heard that. But I thought they only really care if you're broadcasting the chat on stream from other platforms. Hey, appreciate it, Daniel. Appreciate it. Kind words mean a lot. Interesting. That could just be also like TikTok Passover. Like, okay, so on TikTok, a lot of people, content creators, will replace words with other ones to get around, circumvent word bans and things like that. Like they'll say unalive and, and like silly things instead of the real word, which I get, it's trying to like soften it, but it also means the same thing. So, I kind of wonder if that's a translation from that, like, because on certain platforms they are more strict about certain things, but people may take it to the next level. That being said, though, if you find any articles or information about it, I would love to look into it. I'm not aware of that, but hey, good to know. The one thing we did test that does in fact work is, I guess, Twitch no longer counts like lurking viewers as active viewers in the chat unless they say something like once an hour. It's a silly kind of new thing that Twitch does. We tested it on stream, and I could see how many people were watching. And then when everyone typed, it just jumped up the number. It doesn't bother me. I'm not like a big numbers person. It's just kind of silly that Twitch does that. But I guess I understand why they're doing it. I appreciate you lurking, Failure, and I would never call out a lurker. In fact, I think it's silly of Twitch to do this. Okay, once in a while I'll call out lurkers who usually are active chatters, but then all of a sudden feel like lurking. You know what I mean? So then I'll call them out. But that's about it. It is silly, right? I appreciate any and all support on the stream. And honestly, I'm more here to support y'all than anything. If you're here, watching and learning something during the map making stream, whether it's somebody else's question, helps you learn something, or you bring up your own concerns or suggestions or feedback or questions around Dungeon Alchemist development, all of these things are contributive to the stream. And I appreciate all of you being here, continually over and over again. Working while lurking. Got it. So that's just working. Okay. I'm going to move this line. I often tweet while I work because, it's my job to tweet. And I heard the young kids call that twerking now. So how was everyone's weekend? Did any of you get any session prep in or any games in? If you did, let's hear about the shenanigans you or your players got into. If you did some session prep, let's hear what you've been working on. And if you have any Dungeon Alchemist related inquiries, questions, suggestions, feedback for the devs, whatever, let me know. During the stream, I diligently take notes on your feedback, and I also answer your questions in real time. So if you have any feedback or concerns, that's what I'm here for. I mean, you set it up. Oh, that's awesome though, Inani, that you're taking on a new player. That's really cool. Oh my gosh. So our DM told us we have 3 months of downtime between our next session, like in-game downtime. That's a lot of downtime for a wizard. I can do a lot of damage with 3 months. That's a lot of spell scrolls. That's a lot of learning stuff and preparation for future battle. Very excited. You almost finished your Citadel for the next chapter of your homebrew campaign, but got a new player. A cleric will be helpful against my artificer necromancer. BBEG. Dang, dude, that's a crazy combo. The Artomancer. By the way, I already copyrighted that, so kidding. You know what? This fence is what's making this awkward. A tech wizard. I am technically a tech wizard right now. I'm an artificer. Started as an artificer 1 and then dipped into wizard exclusively after. And my backstory is I was raised in a family of artificers. So, like, I kind of got my start there, but then I kind of realized I had more of a knack for magic as a whole and wanted to investigate the weave and the world. I just want to see what other spells are out there and spell slots. You know what I mean? So I have bad luck as a player, so not to fail, I made Avenged Pal with Lucky Elf accuracy. With continue, I'm waiting to see it, Daniel. Currently doing session prep. My players found a map with some locations noted. Currently getting ready for a brood chamber for young parasites a crime boss uses to control some people, a criminal hideout in a place where failed implantations are kept. On the plus side, if I ever need 50 other Dyson, I need 2 rooms for a city map, so of course I make a full city block. I saw you posted some city like different areas. Didn't you post something like that recently on the workshop? Could have sworn I saw some maps you posted, or maybe they were just older maps of yours that popped up. Are you also making constructs of dead bodies, oil, and adamantine? So our cleric has raise dead, or animate dead. So I kind of let her do that. I don't want to step on her toes, though I could get into it later, potentially, because I saw her cast the spell and I may want to learn it. My character's more just interested in all magic and wants to learn about all forms of magic and like the way, different people interact with it. So like there's a couple of sorcerers in our group. Well, there's a Sorlock and a sorcerer and then a cleric. And I'm interested in, and a paladin. I'm interested in all their magics and how they work. Let's see. Been loading in a bunch of assets, big creatures, decided it'd be nice to make it so players could be under or on top of said creatures thanks to Collider customization in the asset importer. Able to do that, even make it so that they can hold on a PC on its hand. Oh wait. That one can hold a PC in its hand. Oh, cool. The wiki helped show me I was missing the collapsible options I'm really excited to not only see how my players responded, but also to update colliders for earlier added assets, especially the aquarium on wheels. That's cool, Wicker. Thank you. Awesome. I'm glad you're that you're having fun with the asset importer and learning more about it. Colliders can be tricky, but once you get the hang of them, they're really fun, for sure. I needed a street, so I made a full city block. That one turned out super cool. Also needed a castle, but there's so many incredible ones on the workshop that I'm just downloading and customizing one. So it's such a time saver. Yeah, we also did just have the castle dam challenge, so a bunch of new ones were uploaded recently. With Pact of the Blade 20. Okay, so Daniel said I have bad luck as a player, so not to fail. I made a Venge Paladin with lucky elf accuracy with a Pact of the Blade 2024 feat to hit with charisma, so I can use. Oh, wow! So you can use a. Oh my gosh! What is EA short for in here? Sorry, I want to make sure I get that right. So my character also has the lucky feat, and I'm a divination wizard. So I'm like a lucknomancer, basically. I'm a halfling too. So whenever I get a nat 1, that also gets an automatic reroll. Pretty fun to just like never get hit or miss your attacks that you really want to hit. What is going on with the colliders over here? Okay. We good. Hey, Belladonna, welcome back. How are you? Well, if you get double ones easily, then it's a good idea to make sure you don't have any chances to fail. Right? In my case, I wanted to play a character who's just extremely lucky and kind of follows the world around him. And part of the reason he's with this group is we ended up in a cell together in a prison, and we all claim we were there innocent, like put there wrongly, like we were all innocent. Who knows? Working on getting my fiance to use DA for maps for a one-shot he's running soon. Nice. That's awesome. Very cool. Your chat is visible, Rev. Is everything okay? Who said what, Asmodeus? Did that with the Mermaid Bar. I would have made one, but the Savvy Seahorse Tavern. Oh, the Savvy Seahorse Tavern is such an amazing map. Probably one of the best examples of an underwater build on the workshop. You were messing with your VPN. Jeez, dude. What'd your VPN do to you? Trying to be your friend. Keep you safe. Or whatever you're doing. Okay. Raincoat Demon says, hello, I was just talking to ChatGPT to make me a list of tabletop softwares, and yours was the #1 on the list.
because I'm about to DM an online D&D over Discord for the first time, and I'm nervous because I don't want to do just theater of the mind. I want to make the world feel somewhat tangible. Does the game support sci-fi models? The setting is cyberpunk, and if it currently doesn't support sci-fi modern models, will it be added later? So that's a lot to answer, and I appreciate you dropping in. It's interesting that ChatGPT recommended us. That's pretty cool. That means that the data it's pulling from had a lot of references to Dungeon Alchemist, which means we're getting out there. We're a small indie company, so that means the world to me as the community manager. Now, welcome to the stream. First off, my name is Mac, and I'm glad you're here, and I want to answer your question. So Dungeon Alchemist, first and foremost, is a map-making tool. And then it's an immersion utility, second most. So Dungeon Alchemist can be used to build maps. You can generate entire environments like forests, deserts, and stuff in a snap. Or you can generate rooms and multi-level structures just as quick. For instance, taverns or cabins or castles, mansions, etc. Now, you asked specifically about sci-fi, and I'll get into that in just a moment, or cyberpunk, either way. Right now, currently, Dungeon Alchemist primarily is a fantasy aesthetic, leaning into some steampunk, with some kind of Western and Victorian as well, that fits the vibe. That's primarily what we promised in our Kickstarter, which is how Dungeon Alchemist was conceived, was a Kickstarter project. So we have a whole series of promises and goals from our Kickstarter that we need to, deliver on first, prior commitments, so to speak. Once we've delivered on all our stretch goals, then we have plans to offer optional, expansions that would be things like sci-fi, cyberpunk, modern, Lovecraftian horror, whatever, those kind of things. That is on the docket down the road. It may be, a couple years minimum before we get there. We still have about four and a half major updates before we leave early access. Though we released a major update in July and a partial patch just about a week ago. We're constantly under development and making adjustments to kind of cater to our community suggestions and feedback, but also follow along in our development plan that we committed to. Now, one thing that you may want to consider right now is Dungeon Alchemist has a couple of tools that are great for people who like to kind of kit bash or mod. You have the asset importer. Hold on, let me save this map because I haven't saved it in a hot minute. Give me a second. I'm going to save it twice. The asset importer, right? Let's see here. Under the Steam Workshop tab of our top menu, allows you to import 3D models. So if you have the ability to sculpt 3D models, or you have a cache of 3D models you've been hoarding from, Humble Bundles or Patreons, Kickstarter projects, 3D modelers, whatever, you can start importing them to use in your own local builds. And then lastly, this asset importer is also backed by support with the Steam Workshop. So many people in our community will upload assets from different aesthetics, sci-fi, cyberpunk, etc., and then share them on the Steam Workshop, not just keep them local. So there's over, I believe, 12,000 assets now. I got to double check. We're going to back out and go to the Steam Workshop here in a second. Hey, Eric, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you. If you look here, it says browse assets. Oh, over 11,000 assets. It's 12,000 maps, I think we have. Anyway, many different assets are uploaded, right? Some of them, a lot of them will primarily be fantasy. But you can search, cyberpunk. There's a handful of assets with a cyberpunk label, but there's also a bunch of sci-fi and modern assets. that have been uploaded, and there's some that aren't even correctly labeled as cyberpunk that could potentially work just fine. That being said, there's thousands of assets on the workshop, over 1,500 with a sci-fi tag alone, and they're expanding every day. Putting into that into perspective, there's maps on the workshop that are shared as well by our community, many of which use workshop assets. So let's just try cyberpunk and see what we find. So just a handful of maps just to share here. There's an abandoned factory, a club, a bar, a street map, an abandoned apartment, a road in an abandoned city, industrial complex, more apartments, street and industrial area, penthouses. And now that we offer multi-level, you could probably do even more. A lot of our basic room sets and tiles will lean into most any genre. The team is about 10 people, including myself, some admin people, a couple of artists, well, 3 or 4 artists, and a couple of devs. Our team essentially, our lead developer and our lead artist kind of concepted this idea, came up with this map making tool pre-pandemic and started developing it. And like I said, they did their Kickstarter. I joined the team a little over 3 years ago, and it's honestly been quite a fun journey to be part of like a startup indie team like this. By the way, as you start researching Dungeon Alchemist, you'll probably see the phrase AI used with Dungeon Alchemist. I want to assure you that no generative AI was used in Dungeon Alchemist. Okay. Our AI that is developed entirely in-house is a last-gen procedural AI used for generating environments or filling homes or buildings with objects really quickly to save you time. So not only is it a last-gen AI, it's developed entirely in-house, and it's trained on, our data that we generate, our own maps, our own data sets, and our own assets. So at no point in time are any public maps, assets, art, or data used to train our AI or used in the generation process. So that includes Steam Workshop stuff. So none of that's included in the generation of rooms or maps. So Dungeon Alchemist is great for the basic, map. You can generate your first map probably in under 5 minutes. The average user can get into it really, really easily. A map like this that you're seeing is more of an advanced, this thing is huge. This is more kind of like a, advanced stage map. But here, let me save this and I'll show you the kind of things you can do. Yeah, most of people in our community are using it, fluently within about an hour. It's designed to be easy to use, but also have room to grow. It's a tool that has basic functionality and ease of use, but also gives you the ability to build everything by hand and has a lot of advanced tools if you want to dive into it. Let me save this twice just to be safe, right? Always be saving, right, fam? We do have some tips and tricks, guides and stuff on YouTube, and then we have a wiki, and then our streams, and then our Discord. Our Discord, you can pop in and ask questions 24 hours a day. Very active community, moderators, myself, and development team will often answer. The streams several times a week, and then also, a couple times a week, and then the, like I said, YouTube and wiki has a bunch of tips and tricks and whatnot on it. Can we get a Discord link in chat, please? One of the mods, please. The mods are sleeping. I'm gonna do it. Oh, Atlam did it. Just as I did it. Sorry. My bad. That second message, lame. Okay, so there's a link to our official Discord. We have a question forum and a support forum. So you can get help in there. There's also sections to chat with other GMs, bounce ideas off of them. So if maybe you're making an encounter or a stat block or, some kind of homebrew, module, anything, you can go in there and bounce ideas off of other people, tell them what you're up to, and they can make suggestions. I think, if we tried to add it up, there's got to be some crazy amount, near a millennia of experience on average at any given point of GMs collaborating in our Discord. It was nice to meet you, Raincoat Demon, and I hope you tune into the streams whenever you can. And if you have any questions, remember the streams are AMA format, which means ask me anything. As long as it's Dungeon Alchemist related, I'm here to assist and guide you. Oh my goodness. Why? Yeah, I don't know why I did this. I was going to make a new map, wasn't I? And I was going to generate one for you. I got caught up in what I was saying. Let's make a new map. So we have all these biomes. You have a couple that are non-terrain, dark parchment and green screen, and then the rest are terrain-based biomes. Snow, skeletal plains, jungle, grasslands, forest, fey plain, deserts, caves, badlands. So you could pick one of these biomes if you want. Yeah, disabling collisions means you enable the phone. Currently, we don't have a rasterization option, Toastig, to split one big map into smaller maps built into Dungeon Alchemist. But there are tools online and even built into Adobe. They have the poster kind of tool where you can rasterize and split things up. There's tools online, websites that do free rasterization where you can import a massive map and it'll split it up into, a bunch of 8.5 by 11s. Enable the fun. So, Raincoat, do you want to pick a biome really quick and we'll generate it? Out of all of these, kind of pick between Badlands and Snow here, because the other two are meant for more focusing on interiors or capturing objects on a green screen that you can quickly edit out. See Snow? You got it. You can pick elevation types, so there's flat, hill, mountains, ravine, mesa, crater, and cave system. Burrow, thank you for the follow over on TikTok. Much appreciated. Cave? You want to see a cave system? You can pick vegetation, but since we're in a cave, probably not really matter. You can add a river or even any of these things, like a frozen river to the cave, or no water. You could just add regular water, a lake, any number of things, a lava flow if you want. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I like to show you how easy it is to make a map custom. Frozen river. Cool. We're going to leave snow weather off because that'll put snow on top of everything, on top of the ice and the ground. We don't want that for right now. We can change that at any time. You can also set the map size. So 50 by 50 is pretty generous in size. We'll just do that. So, Eric, I don't know if you've seen, but in our Discord, our lead dev's been sharing some stuff in the leak channel, basically. And it is essentially showing rotation tests that they're doing right now in the back end. The best I can estimate, though, is probably after the new year. So we're kind of in this... I don't know. I guess it's an ice cave. I don't really like it. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to show you how quick it is. So our procedural AI generated this environment, the caves, the river, all that stuff. So it made a nice little setup, but I'm going to change a few things to make it more custom. So we generated the environment. That took a few clicks and a few seconds. I'm going to go into the terrain tools. I'm going to actually kind of start painting this snowy because I want it to be an ice cave, which doesn't take long at all when you use the terrain paints like this. But it's cool to kind of mix personal customization with what the environment generates. That's kind of my favorite thing to do. Saves me a lot of time, but also gets me kind of pretty much what I'm looking for every time. So, wish we were timing this, but in less than probably 2 minutes, I painted this whole area into like a snow. Now I'm going to add a little bit of ice here and there. I'm going to make it feel extra frozen, especially near the openings. Maybe deeper in the caves here and there. You can just put these little spines of ice here and there. There are bigger sizes. You can adjust the brush between like very fine and very big. And then there's brush strength as well. And then different biomes have different paints. All the biomes share the same liquids, but they have different color paints for different terrains. Anyway, so now you kind of see how quick it was to generate an environment. How did the wedding go, by the way, Rev? But Eric, it looks like it'll be after the new year, if anything. Probably sometime in first quarter is the best I can give right now. And honestly, that's still an estimate. I wouldn't like bank on it. Raincoat, you know, that's a good question. We do have tokens built in, and there are some monsters already in Dungeon Alchemist. The ones with these clouds are ones that I downloaded from the workshop. And then the ones, there are a few that I uploaded myself. But we have a partnership with a company called Bite the Bullet. And they are an amazing, 3D artist team. And they'll provide tokens for us like every update to add into the update. Well, at least every major update. So they've provided like 30, 40 tokens so far, the last couple updates. We also have a couple built in that were, ones we got through a partnership with Hero Forge. And if you know how about Hero Forge, you can actually build tokens there, and then you can purchase the token and export it for use in Dungeon Alchemist. If you purchase token packs or get the monthly free packs or the monthly packs with your subscription, those also export to Dungeon Alchemist. And then lastly, there's downloaded tokens through the workshop. So the workshop, you can, either import your own tokens through the asset importer like we discussed earlier. The asset importer also supports tokens, but on the workshop, people have uploaded close to 1,000 tokens already. Some are, most of them are fantasy, but some lean into sci-fi and cyberpunk. Under monsters right now, there's over almost 500 tokens. Yes, it is very nice. You can import 3D files that are STL, FBX, and GLTF/GLB. Our wiki, Toastig, has a bunch of documentation about it. There's like a huge guide, but including like how to properly configure models in Blender to import them to Dungeon Alchemist. But you can import animated assets, full color assets, all sorts of stuff. Let's see here, Steam Workshop. Let's go to just look at tokens again. But NPCs, there's 286, monsters, 495, and then characters, 154. So the tokens just keep growing and growing. And any token you can just place on the map to add, specialty. Like there's a thing there for environmental fun. but you can click on the eyeball icon and walk around in first person. This is really fun to take pictures, you know, video. You can even stream this to your players over like Discord or Teams or whatever. You can't do the wiki command here. I think if you just type wiki in chat, the wiki link comes up, but Toastig's over on our TikTok where we can't share links, sadly. There's another camera angle, actually. You can get into the cinematic camera, which is more like a drone. So you can fly around. So Hero Forge tokens, if you purchased any as 3D digital, or you've bought any packs or gotten the monthly tokens that they give you, those will automatically export over when you link your account. We have a tutorial on how to do it on our YouTube and on our wiki. Pretty straightforward. But there's like a code you got to get from your Hero Forge account and put it in Dungeon Alchemist under this tab. Unfortunately, my account's already linked, but when you link your account also, you don't get these tokens on your Hero Forge account, but as a partnership with Hero Forge, 5 extra tokens are added to your collection here in Dungeon Alchemist when you link your account. There's like a cleric. I can't remember all of them offhand. Where are they? Huh. Oh, they might be up in these. I think like this barbarian, this bard. There's like a cleric and a fighter. They're all included for free, like as a bonus. So if you wanted to use it for DMing, it's not really intended for DMing. You know, like I said, it's a Mapmaker first, an immersion tool second. But if you were like streaming it over Discord, technically you could turn on the grid and like stream this over Discord for your players. But what I would recommend is using it in tandem with like a virtual tabletop. Dungeon Alchemist is compatible with like dozens of virtual tabletops, including the big 3, which are Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, and Foundry. There's also some like a free virtual tabletop we're compatible with, or 2. We're compatible with Above VTT, Owlbear, and a bunch of virtual tabletops that support the UVTT format. Virtual tabletops are ideal for supporting online play. They're an interface that allows your players to move around their tokens, get fog of war and data from our maps. So our maps export with line of sight, lighting, walls, windows, doors, and other information like these caves. It includes all the line of sight data when you export it and use it with a virtual tabletop. So it's actually more intuitive that way. Autumn Ronan on TikTok says, I just bought this about 3 weeks ago. And I love it. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. And thank you for the support. Question though, how do I make a wall diagonal? Let me show you a couple ways. So, when you draw a floor plan in Dungeon Alchemist, before you generate the room, before you click this, you can do a few things, okay? You can rotate your floor plan to just kind of make it diagonal that way so it can be at a different angle to all the other buildings in the area. If you're in a terrain-based biome, and in fact I should be in one, let's do it in forest. I'm going to change to forest. Yeah, there's some suggestions coming across chat right now of how people would approach it in their stream or their groups. I played with a group where the DM would, export the images of Dungeon Alchemist, share the images with us in like Teams or Discord, and then do theater of the mind for everything else. So he'd be like, this is the area you're at. You can tell me where you want to move your character to, and it'd have a grid over it so we can kind of just roughly know where we were at and do all combat theater of the mind. Now back to Autumn, dragging this floor plan here. Notice I can raise or lower the floor plan too before I generate if I'm in a terrain-based biome. This only works in biomes with environment, terrain, not dark parchment, not green screen. You can also rotate. And you see these little dots in the corner? Kind of hard to see. These little blips. If you grab these, you click on it with a left click, you can drag inward for concave or outward for convex. And then if you pull to the side before you drag inward, right? Pull to the edge and then drag inward, it makes diagonal cuts. So Dungeon Alchemist is meant to be used however you want, Raincoat Demon. If you play in person, for instance, you can print our maps. You can export it as a digital file, take it to a print shop, get a big poster. We have a partnership with a company called Kraken War Games that you can export the maps to them. They'll put it on neoprene mats that are scratch resistant, waterproof, whatnot, and they'll ship it to you. So if you want to play in person, printed maps is an option, either if you print them from home or get them professionally printed. Alternatively, digital maps are an option, such as TV tabletops, projector tabletops, which are kind of all the rave right now. You see them all over TikTok and whatnot. And then lastly, virtual tabletops or online play. So depending on how you want to play, Dungeon Alchemist supports it all. And I've even seen people use Dungeon Alchemist for play itself, because it is a very advanced tool, especially if you're on a TV tabletop, or you don't mind having all the bells and whistles like like inventory management and dice rolls and fog of war and stuff like that. What's up, Yodate? How you doing? Does that make sense, Autumn? By the way, let me teach you one other thing while you're here, how to make a perfect circle room. This helps everyone. So Dungeon Alchemist, when you put structures, they're on a grid, right? And that's how our procedural AI knows where to generate things, is based on that grid. Now, when you want to generate a perfect circle room, it actually has to be perfectly divisible, because Dungeon Alchemist won't let you split a square. So if you have 7 by 7, it won't make a perfect circle. It'll be ovoid, meaning ovalish. If you have 10 by 10, 8 by 8, 6 by 6, 4 by 4, 2 by 2, so on, all of those up to 20 by 20 can be round. How you do that is once you have 10 by 10, pull the edge here until if this is 10 by 10, 5 circles in. Notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the last crest. It hits the center there. Do the same thing on this side. By the time you've done that, it's now easy peasy. All sides are perfect. Once you get the first 2, it's perfect. Then you have a circular structure. And like I said, you can make all sorts of weird shapes, because the shaping tools allow you to do, circular, convex, concave, diagonal, rotation, everything in between. Okay, sure. Sure, Toastig, I'll show you that. Try above VTT, Raincoat. It's free, and it interfaces with D&D Beyond, so if you have an account there, you can, export your content from there. Pretty cool. Or Owlbear. So, Toastig, let me show you something. I'm going to generate a room within the room, right? I'm just going to make a circular room in this room. So that's one way to just add a shape within a shape. Alternatively, you have the wall tools, right? You can change all the walls in the building to different color or different types. You can make them stone, different wood, whatever, planks, whatever. Or you can place new walls. So let's say I wanted to add some walls in this building. Maybe a little like split section in the corner here, or a maze, whatever. In the little part here, probably not ideal. But I can start splitting off sections in this entire area and making new rooms if I wanted to. Now that's just a simple way to add walls. Alternatively, let's say I wanted to have like a hollow space within this building. I could go into this room tool, which we have draw rooms, remove rooms, edit rooms. The edit room tool is pretty neat. You can click on a room, change it to a different type, so generate a completely different room within there. Alternatively, and by the way, these are generating, I guess it is generating with objects. That's weird. I could just delete that room, right? And now it's an open space in the center, so I have like a courtyard. Oh, I just made like a donut house. Thank you, Milo. I appreciate that. Honestly, I feel bad for all our lurkers. You don't have to do that. You don't have to make your presence known. I don't care. What other things do you want to see, Toastig? I honestly use this technique quite a bit. It's kind of a cool way to do like a spiral staircase down a circular area in the center. Here, let's generate like a regular structure and just add stuff inside of it. I'm going to generate a farmstead over here. We're on the second floor. First floor, and then once it's generated, why is it generating with nothing? This map seems buggy. I know the AI has everything on. Something's up with this map. What did I do to it? What did I do to it? The AI isn't generating anything. That's not right. It shouldn't do that. It should be filled with stuff. Something's wrong. Let's generate a new map just to be safe. I think when I converted it from dark parchment to forest, I might have borked it. What kind of shape you trying to make, my man? Little bit of practice, you can do all sorts of shapes. Knowing the right, square configuration to start with. There's a creator in our community who is insanely good at getting like perfect like weaved roads and like walls. I don't even know how they do it. Unfortunately, Dungeon Alchemist doesn't support 3D play and will never export as full 3D. So Raincoat, that's where we don't really have plans to do that. Let me show you that I think is somewhat complex that often people struggle with. Semicircular. I've never even tried to make a semicircular structure. Never even tried, never even considered it. Something like this, maybe? Radiating hallways. Can you explain what you mean by that? Anani also is really good at it. Mondu and Anani are both great at it. Anani made this crazy pub recently, like a tavern that looks exactly like a beholder. Like, with a little bit of practice, you can do all sorts of shapes. So one thing I've noticed, like a lot of people struggle to, I'm assuming you want a hallway that maybe is like curved off of this, right? Like spokes. Yeah, that might be tricky. I'll be honest with you, because look at here. Tries to make stuff like that. But depending on the shape of the circle and how big it is, it might be possible. There are still limitations with our shaping tools. Here, let me show you something really quick. Subscribe to currently. So this is kind of a good example of a spoked hallway. However, you'd probably have to pair with Anani on this, because I am like bewildered as how this was accomplished. We're going to download these assets. It's going to take a moment. I'm sorry. Toastig, honestly, our Discord will be a great resource for this. But this particular map almost has that exact, well, it's a full circle with spokes. But I think it could be possible if the circle was the right size. If it's too small of a circle, it won't be able to have extenuating like hallways or surfaces off of it without being like fully converted to a square. That said, I do think our room shaping tool could be a little bit more intuitive in how you shape things, like just let you kind of shape it however you want. But maybe with caveats, maybe you could shape things perfectly, but it doesn't generate, fill it up with objects because you did that. I don't know. Not currently, no. You have to build off the existing room more than you can merge two rooms. Does that make sense? It would be amazing, though, to take two rooms and just rotate them into each other and it works, right? That's like the end game. Hopefully we get to that point. What's your question, Creeper King? I'm assuming you meant to say hello, fellow people. But if you look here, for instance, this thing is insanely shaped. It's possible to get some like quirky shapes, but I think the dimensions have to be somewhat large to start getting like crazy offshoot stuff. Anani is gifted. This is insane. Probably one of the cooler structures I've ever seen. I think when people start playing with castles and stuff, they start making some insane shapes. Gosh, keep hitting the K. I'm like leaning over my mic to type. So. Is this something from Discord? Oh, nice. Did you have any luck with that, Toastig? I'll be honest with you, there is a little bit of a practice factor involved when you want to start doing some crazy shapes. You know what I mean? But that's what's great about the workshop being available, is it supplements our lack of skill with, the availability of all these extra maps that can help us out in a pinch or give us inspiration or guidance, even. Where's the question at? I'm trying to figure it out. Is it Dr. Pops? That depends on your table, Creeper King. You're probably going to want to run a session 0. Ask your players what they're comfortable with. Some people, like Murder Hobo, will kill anyone, and other people are uncomfortable, with killing certain animals or young children. Question forum. Is the map shared? If I had it, I could probably solve it in like a second. We don't have maps, we don't have specs, we don't have anything on this. Is that Inspector right now watching? Could you share the damned file in the in Discord, and then I'll take a look at it really quick. Unless you're not at your PC. In which case, I would just delete the roof, right? Go to the edit room tool right here. I mean, technically, you can delete roofing and levels. Okay. So you can erase roofing with the erase roof tool, right? But if there's a level of your map that's just like a vaulted area, it still counts as a room. If I had the file, I could probably fix it in a second. I can't follow your steps without your map. You know what I mean? I would love to help. I mean, as is, they could just delete the extra exported layer of that dead room and not use it. And then just have a taller, vaulted area. I'm not gonna lie, Creeper King, your question's coming off a little weird. Maybe you could articulate it better, or then just tell it to export without the roof in the export settings. But yeah, once I have the map, I can definitely do more. So let's say there's a level of your map you don't want to export. Just maybe it's the roofing. You can just tell it to do all layers without roofing. Then it'll get rid of the roofing layer. Alternatively, you can export all layers and just ignore the roofing layer. Or you can export in current layers that you have selected before you entered the export menu. So you can individually export. Okay. Yeah, share the file in Discord and I'll open it up. We'll take a look. In the interim, let's open up the cemetery again. Okay, I'll show you that really quickly. Toasted, give me just a minute. I gotta load another map because this map I'm loading into is legacy, so it doesn't support multi-level. Stand by. New map. So I'm just going to generate a multi-story structure and vault it. So I'm going to generate the first floor, right? That's our first floor. I'm going to go up a second floor, and then I'm going to go to the settings menu, and I'm just going to uncheck like objects, check doors and floors, and then just draw a new level. Now it just generates a whole extra level, and pillars automatically dynamically extend to the roof level. So it's just a big vaulted room. Alternatively, if you generate the room with the floor, you can go into the remove floor tool and just delete the floor on that level. So you can cut out sections to have like a balcony. So let's say I generated it with the floor, right? Oops. Say I wanted a little staircase or a balcony, you can just go into the floor tool, go to remove floor, and cut out a section. The whole area. Or a little cutout in the center. For some reason, I am not getting any YouTube chat in my feed today, so I appreciate you sharing that. I have a tower that I created and circular room inside, and I want the stairs to spiral between the outer wall and the inner wall. Okay. I mean, you just have to, on each floor, put a circular section that you delete. So you would add a center room that's circular and delete that section to run the staircase up. Probably not going to get to work on the cemetery much today. I'm getting that vibe. Okay. So I'm going to generate the first floor. Pretty much, you just go into first person and check, and you get a vibe after learning it or doing them. After a while, you kind of learn which rooms go where, we get which types of ceilings. It is definitely vibe based. So, first floor, no big deal. It's the second floor where things start getting tricky, right? We're going to generate this whole space, fill it in, fill in the whole thing. Going to just generate this. Now I have a floor 2, but in the center of this, I'm going to do a 4x4 room to make my circular space. I could do a 2x2 room. I could do a 4x4. I don't know how big the spiral stair you want to do is. In this case, this is just what I'm going to do. This will now generate a separate room. At this point, you can now delete the floor using the floor removal tool. Now you have a circular space, and you can run your spiral stair up, 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 up. Keep doing the same thing all the way up. Jim, unfortunately, I don't have a better answer than that. It's basically trial and error at this point. Think of it as the first iteration of roofing and ceilings, so there's going to be some quirkiness that needs some reworking. Okay, I'm downloading your map right now. Stand by. Inspector. I don't know why, but Streamlabs is not showing the multi-stream feed, so I'm definitely not getting YouTube or anything. Okay. This is your map. So you're saying this floor, you want to get rid of that second floor, right? That's 2 levels room. If you want to export this as is, clicking on all the layers, roof, it exports as 3 maps. Let's see. Correct. You have a first floor, a second floor. Yes. And a roof. So one would be... Yeah. Exactly what it is. So to delete this... Inspector, I'm not sure if you understand, but roofing is all included as a level now. If your flooring is awkward or the numbering is weird, remember you can go in here and change the flooring types. But if you want to delete a level, it's quite easy to do. I'm not 100% certain what you want to do. Let's see here. So why do you want to add another level? Is my question. And then not export the middle section. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you could just delete that extra section it's exporting, or remove the floor from that section so there is nothing to export. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what the concern is here. We can remove the floor or delete the floor entirely. We can add new levels. Everything seems to work just fine in this map. It's really just getting hung up over numbers, you think, Asmodeus? I don't know. I don't think it's that simple. I might be getting lost in translation. I wonder, because I feel like French is probably his first language. I really want to help here, and I'm trying to understand. This isn't a third floor until you draw a floor there. The roofing isn't a third floor until you add another level there. It just is represented by the number 3, showcasing that there could be a third level. If you change it from American flooring to regular, it would be that by default. European flooring is different. I understand that because their floor is 0. Technically, there's no floor 0 in America. It's just floor 1. I don't know if that's the difference. I don't know. Everything I'm seeing here, I can delete the floor, the numbering. It's not a problem. I don't know. If there's an extra floor that's exporting that you don't want, just delete the image and the data file and don't use it. That or export them one at a time. I'm sorry. I don't fully understand. I apologize. I'm trying to read all this, and I'm not trying to like, I really do want to help here. I think you're getting hung up on the fact that it shows a 3 here, but it's not an extra level. That's just the roofing. You got to think in digital terms, not in actual floors, because each of these are represented as a layer. So that's layer 3 where the roof is. And you can change it to just be level 2. So this would be level 0 if you change the way it's laid out in the menu. So if that is bothering you, that extra number can be changed through this setting. Okay. So where is the extra floor you're talking about? That's where I'm getting lost. Is this the problem right here? This right here. I've read through this chat 3 times. I just want to make sure I'm following along with you. But I do think there might be some issue here in translation because I did follow your step. Create room. This is working exactly as intended at the moment. Let's see here. Okay. So we have the base floor, the second floor, the third floor, and the roof, as expected, when we added another floor. I wish you had sent me the map in your image so I could just show you how easy it is to delete that room. You sent me a completely different map, which is troublesome. Hmm. That's how the programmers designed it, man. If it bothers you, I'm sorry. The really only thing you can do is just ignore it. That's exactly how they programmed it to function. That's how it's designed to work and intended to function. It's the roof isn't an extra level. It's not wasting extra processing power. It's at that moment, it's just a placeholder where the roofing is. It's not creating a pseudo room. You guys are getting hung up on the number. Okay? That's what's the problem is. There is a layer. That's what it is, a layer. That's what you need to break it down into. Instead of floors, they're layers. Okay? So you have layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, which is where the roof is. We had to break this all into, like, essentially, 3D is layering, right? When you have a 3D environment, it's all layers. So essentially, you compound each of these levels is technically just a layer. I know it seems like it's a whole new floor, but it's not. But it is at a new level at the height where a floor would be. Technically, that's where your roof is. If you were to put a room right above your current room, it would be where your roofing is. So we're getting hung up on technicalities here. Really, at the end of the day, that's how the devs designed it and intended it. Levels like a parking garage makes sense, yeah. And again, if you don't want to view the roof, you can always just delete the roof or delete that level. There's lots of ways around this. I don't know. I'm a little lost on this still, and I apologize. I think it's just a misunderstanding in the representation of the numbers. That number doesn't mean new floor, it means a new layer on the map, which is exactly where that roof is. So why exports are the same with 2 or 3 levels? I don't know. When I did it, it made the exact amount of maps it should have for the export. The roof is one of them. A lot of players want to get up on roofs. I don't know if you've experienced that, but players do want to get on a roof. So having a roof layer is smart. Especially when you use like a levels module, like in Foundry, where you can have or a foreground layer and a background layer. You can essentially edit everything outside of the roof to be like transparent in a photo editing program and have the roof be on top of everything. But when your players go in, it peels back the roof. So it's like an interactive layer. It's actually quite fun to use roofing. Oh my goodness. Cannot select that one in the middle. Why are my colliders so bad today? Everything's getting so small and tight together over here. I would very much like to help you, but I think I'll have to take a look after the stream when I can focus attention on it directly in another, channel. For the time being, though, I understand you're concerned, and we'll try and get to the bottom of it, though I am having a hard time grasping exactly what the issue is. So hopefully when we do like a stream or something together, it'll sort it out. If you want to take a look, Anani, feel free. I'm just I'm gonna have to wait until the stream ends. Hey, Fox. How you doing? Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for asking. Oh, you won't be able to go around the outside of the tower. The spiral stairs we had won't do that. They'll work on the inside, like a center up the spiral of a donut, but they will definitely not go around the outside. Yeah, it will delete the whole curvature of a wall for sure. Goodness. I got like no sleep last night. I turned on a show to try and help me pass out, and it ended up keeping me more like entertained than anything. So I was like super focused on it. I think I was working on the computer for the stream until like 2 a.m. finalizing software updates, configuring things, and I still didn't get everything I needed done for the stream. This morning I noticed a couple things that still need to be done. It was crazy. It was crazy. I'm really sorry about that question there. I want to help. I'm just lost, I guess. You also could leave one little, like, make it big enough to have one little opening on the ends, so you could put a door going out. into like another hallway. So if the circle isn't a perfect circle, but there's like one little straight piece in the edges around the tops of the circle, so it's like circular edges but goes to a straight piece on the top. Honestly, I really want to help them and I feel bad. I do feel like there's a bit of a translation mix up here ultimately, and that's always going to be, there's always going to be a little bit of frustration trying to get everything said the right way and covered the right way to, everyone's expectations. Wild and crazy kids. So like my obsession in my free time lately, when I have even like 5 minutes to myself, I'll hop on Battlefield for a little bit, like a round. Has anyone tried the new Battlefield out? I know it's kind of different discussion than tabletop gaming. I just figured I'd ask anyone if they've been interested in it. Oh, Chim, that one works. You know what I should have done is turned on Master and Commander. That's the movie that makes me fall asleep more than any movie, even though it's like one of the best movies ever made. Let's see here. How well can it handle terrain elevations? Well, I mean, you can do like mountainous maps and all sorts of stuff. It's possible to just generate a whole mountain range. Let me do it really quick. 50 by 50 forests. Let's do mountains. And we'll add a river in the middle of it. I did save. I saved twice. Pretty sure I did. A Master and Commander is such a good movie. The first time you watch it, it's great, but if you turn it on at night, like if you're just sitting there, it's got a slow pacing to it. You'll pass out constantly. I know this because I used to use it as the movie to help me fall asleep at night. So this generated an entire map full of, various terrain and elevations. And then you can go into the terrain tools and raise the elevation any like up to a max point or lower it, depending on if you want lower, depths of water. You can even remove the water. Here, just remove that and just make it all like mountains and whatever, canyons. And the cool thing about it is you can generate like entire, environments and moments. Honestly, I think it's a brilliant movie, but it's one of those movies you have to be awake and like in the middle of the day. There is an elevation peak in maps. So if you're looking for things to feel like, Everest, you probably won't get that. You know what I mean? So Toastig, they have their free like Warzone equivalent called RedSec. That they have the free to play of, and then the full game, it has their traditional game modes and their campaign and stuff is, just the normal game price. Honestly, it depends. Like lately, I've just been so busy. Just one round's all I have time for. I would love to play, 10, 20 rounds, but I often just don't have the time or the energy. You know what I mean, Belladonna? That being said, I'm really proud of what I've accomplished with the time I've had lately in Battlefield. I only get like a few rounds in here and there. And I have a killer KD, tons of revives, tons of wins. Honestly, this new stream PC has been running so good. Not one hiccup the whole stream. I want to check this. I don't think there's been a single frame dropped. I don't know why I'm streaming at 30 FPS, though. We'll definitely have to check that after. I did not realize I was streaming at 30. Huh. Bummer. Sorry about that, everyone. You're into farming sims or sims in general? The Battlefield, like Warzone is pretty intense because there's fully destructible environments. There's vehicles like tanks and like Bradleys and helicopters. Heck, there's even a golf cart you can drive around. It's a pretty cool map. Though the problem is I haven't found like a solid full squad to roll with. A lot of my friends that used to play Battlefield don't anymore or are super busy in their lives. Like one of my friends just got married and had a kid, so he's not like in Battlefield mode at the moment. You know what I mean? One of my oldest squad mates, at least. Honestly, I'm really happy with it. The thing is, ultimately, I'm going to flip-flop them. So the stream PC, my old DA PC is going to be the stream PC, but right now it's like the nerve center of my entire home. It has, a lot of data on it. I run all my home media server through it. So I'm going to need to make some changes, back up some data, move some things, make sure everything's backed up in triplicate, and then flip-flop them. So the gaming PC will become the stream PC, which it'll be above and beyond stream PC because it's got 128 gigs of RAM and a 4070 Ti, and like it's decked out. So it'll be fine for streaming at 1080p 60 FPS. The gaming PC will be such a nice upgrade that DA will run probably way smooth for the foreseeable future. Big maps, probably up to 200 by 200 without an issue. So apparently the Battlefield, like Warzone, Firestorm, whatever they call it, Fortnite game, they essentially, you're in like a kind of a secret, like a military base that's been made to look like a California city for training exercises. And so it's like a massive city looking area full of like buildings of all types. But it's also like a military installation. You know how like the military will make like for testing stuff, they'll make like a full size like scale city for like SWAT and bomb testing and other stuff. Wait, when did Kaihira say something? Oh, hi Kaihira, how are you? I just saw your message pop up. How have you been? You know what? I just noticed the time. It's time to wrap it up. We are now 5 past the hour, and I've got a lot of work to do today. Got to get the cartomancer out. So I've got to figure out how we're going to reschedule the dam challenge. I've got to start sourcing reviews from our Steam reviews of reviews that have been like of things that have been updated, so I can reply to them and be like, hey, this is a feature now. Got to start doing that. That's like a new part of my job. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here today. Appreciate you all so very, very much. Highland Lass, I know you're just tuned in right as we're wrapping up. I'm sorry, but I appreciate you dropping by. Hope you've had a wonderful week. Well, a wonderful week so far, I should say. Hope your Monday is off to a great success. Unfortunately, though, we are wrapping up. And for those wondering about the dam challenge, so my internet was just toast the other day. I don't know what was going on. I asked my ISP about it. They said there was an outage in our area. They couldn't give me an ETA on when it'd be fixed. It was just problems. The internet was super slow and sluggish. I used that as an opportunity to get this new stream PC put together because the other one was just limping along, having trouble. The motherboard was going out. So I basically spent a bunch of time last night. All these parts were on my kitchen table. I was putting it all together till the wee hours of the morning and updating and installing and making sure everything worked. It was a whole endeavor. With that being said, now that we've got this other machine, between that and hopefully the internet hiccups will be a thing of the past. Though I am looking into getting a new modem because I've been having more internet issues lately, and it might be that. I often replace my hardware like every couple of years because it just slowly starts wearing out. So what was going on exactly, Anani? Can you explain it now that you've seen it firsthand? Because I'm still confused. I appreciate you popping in, Highland Lass. So Dungeon Alchemist doesn't natively export in an isometric, but we include camera tools that allow you to capture images at that angle. I've seen people use Dungeon Alchemist imagery in their game development. There was a creator in our community who made a JRPG game where he drew the characters, the characters, whatever, and then he'd put them on Dungeon Alchemist maps at like an angle, like an isometric angle where you'd see the characters talking like, just panels like a comic, essentially. So it is possible. Yeah, sad about the office hours. I'm going to be updating that soon. Sorry. I saw your message, Atlam. Again, I've just been swamped. I need to get a couple little bits of maintenance around the office done. That's funny. I have cable internet, right? And it's like a grandfathered unlimited plan, so I can't get any faster than what they offer now. And it's 500 up, 50 down. Or no, 500 down, 50 up. And I basically mostly get around 350 down, 35 up. But, that's like, it's pretty decent internet here in Vegas. They're starting to add fiber all over the valley, but it's like, it's hit or miss where it's located. Depending on where you live, it may or may not be there. Like my friend who lived like 10 blocks from me had fiber, but I don't. No worries, Anani. Honestly, I'm just wondering if it's something we were overlooking or didn't fully understand. Because at the end of the day, I feel bad that we were not grasping it as a whole. Really? That's a bummer, Belladonna. So, like, CenturyLink has fiber in a few, like, posh neighborhoods, right? And it's funny, my buddy, he wasn't even in the posh neighborhood. He was like in one just adjacent to it that was like an old neighborhood. And he was like renting a home there, and it had it because it had to pass through his neighborhood or something. But they've been adding it all over, but there is like, it's not everywhere. That's the future though. I hope to get it. Google Fiber or Some fiber company. Are you pretty in a more rural region, Island Lass? I'm gonna miss not having office hours anymore. It makes me sad, to be honest with you. You live on an island up a single track road. What's the population of the island? In a building mode, so I'm just going to keep going. Let me save here. About time to wrap up the stream, unfortunately. We're about 10 past the hour, which means it's time to kill it. So the whole island chain is 22,000. That mainland is 6,000. Huh. Wow. Island life sounds fun, especially, in like the Highlands. Seems like it'd be so beautiful. And the pictures you've shared are just fantastic, so it makes me believe it even more. Anyway, everyone, we got to wrap up the stream. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate each and every one of you who showed up today. And again, sorry for the stream issue last stream. Hopefully won't have any more going forward, other than, maybe an adjusting schedule, because there's going to be some changes with the stream. I don't know the extent of them yet. I'm working it out with our marketing team and with our the owners of Dungeon Alchemist. We're trying to get it all sorted out. I'm hoping we can keep it roughly the same with only minor changes. We'll see. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We'll be back on Saturday, hopefully with the Dam Challenge taking that spot of the Dam stream so we can announce the winner and give them a prize and showcase all the other amazing entries from the Cottage Dam Challenge. By the way, if you haven't noticed, that now gives you extra time to enter. So if you were considering entering the Cottage Dam Challenge but didn't have time, now you do. So give it a shot. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Appreciate you so very, very much. And we'll see you next time I give a damn. I'm going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad and we're going to wrap up, okay? So you have till Friday, end of day in your time zone, 11:59 p.m. to submit your map, okay? See you later, everyone. Back out.
But can it handle curves?
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 Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map-making application for role-playing games, now comes with both round and diagonal walls.
Good luck, Belladonna.
Create amazing professional maps for your players in seconds. Get it now on the Steam store.